Down here in the bottom position of Death Aura, he is for Dragon Phoenix Gaming, Rogue. And his opponent up here in the top for GGGSC2. Give it up for Patience. Let's also make sure I got the game audio on so that we can hear all the amazing action that's going to be coming on up. Now, Rogue, he's a fantastic player, and like we've said quite a few times, he has won so many premier level tournaments. In the last I'd say half a year, he's been kind of having some mixed results in terms of he's been showing up for a lot of things such as our Into the Alpha X events, our Super Series events, our Pro Series events. We have a lot of events, if you didn't know that already, but if you follow our social medias, you probably will know that. But really, there has been some times where he's struggled against players that he really should have no problems struggling against. Patience as well has been having sort of a little bit of a rough patch, as we saw that he didn't actually qualify for the most recent GSL Super Tournament. He got knocked out in, I don't want to say an easy group, but it was one that he could really power on through. Now, that being said, it has been a hard year for Protoss overall, so Patience probably just feeling a little bit of a brunt of that, you know, with players like Trap trying to hold down the line for Ire. Now, we do see right now nothing too crazy going to be going on. Best of 5 series, you do want to save some of those shenanigans for later, as neither of these guys looking for that early win as we get the Stargate coming on up with the first Adept. Going to get a little bit of scouting information as well. I'd like to mention as well, just make sure you guys are checking out that Matcherino page. I see that being spammed in the chat as well. Using that code AXCOM286 will add a free 50 cents to the prize pool. And we really appreciate everything that you guys do to keep these events running on smoothly. Now, coming back into it, obviously, this is going to be for no other reason than Void Rays. This has kind of been the meta in the past couple of months, where Protoss players kind of feel like this is a good opportunity to get the damage in early on with getting up to about 5 to 6 Void Rays and then transitioning to that Charge Lot Archon kind of move as your opponent kind of reactionary going up to Hydralisk and more than likely Ling Bane. While we might see a Roach Warren for defense, we won't really see too many Roaches. Although that is one of Rogue's kind of signature units here that I do feel that he enjoys using the Roach in certain situations. Now, on Rogue's side of things, he hasn't really started to make a reaction just yet. I don't really think he's seen any indication that this is on the way. Obviously, this Void Ray probably did not run into any of those overlords. We can kind of see the positioning. He's hiding them up there in the corner. The first queen is going to start to poke away in this, and the Void Ray will have to retreat. And the queens do have a good creep spread, so they are not going to lose too much of the Oracle. Good control right there from Rogue. Now, we do see that second Stargate coming up as well. So Void Ray production shouldn't really go too aggressive here. Obviously, when we started seeing players like Zest kind of go for this style, we kind of recognized that they went a little bit too overboard. So, you know, about 5 to 6 Void Rays keeps you safe against any sort of Roach counterattack. It allows you to get that damage done and kind of just float around, keeping the queens away from the main army. And it's just good overall for that kind of positional play. While you kind of tech up here, as we do see the Twilight Council coming down, +1 upgrade should be starting pretty soon. and those additional gateways just so he can keep the production rolling. And nothing really too much else to say in this first one. As of going for Void Rays, it's a very slow build-up for the time being, and Rogue kind of just getting those roaches for a little bit of defense. I don't really assume he would go across the map. That would almost be a suicide mission with charge on the way, as the Void Rays kind of just getting picked away at. They have to be very careful, because with every single hit point that they lose, they're going to lose a lot of that utility here. There are no SCVs for Protoss to kind of rebuild them. As we do see the first kind of big scout here from Rogue, he's going to see that transition coming on in. Did any of the Void Rays go down so far? No. And this is kind of the thing. Patience is being very methodical, very cautious with his units. Now, one thing I do kind of want to see here is when he decides to go up into Hive Tech. As we kind of see, he is sticking with the Roach defense. He doesn't really have any anti-air with this other than the Queens, which are just going to kind of slowly push out that creep. Potentially going for, you know, a German taxi. That's kind of been one of the ways that... Zerg have been dealing with this new Void Ray phenomenon, and we do see a lot of the Queens actually being pulled away here, so just keep an eye on those as we're about the halfway mark into the late game at 7 minutes 45 seconds. First Oracle, though, is going to get a good observation here. Gets a little bit of a revelation on the Queens, who are moving forward. Now, Patience doesn't really have a large army. He's got 69 army supply right now. He will have Storm, however, so this is going to be a really difficult position for Rogue to get up that ramp. He might just want to go for a bit of a surround. But again, just so many small choke points for him to go through in order to get up there. Oh no, and he might actually lose some of those Queens. 3 are going to be taken out of the fight immediately as the Storms cleaning up a lot of the Baneling fire here. So far, Patience doing a pretty good job of holding on, but he does take one big bile there. Looks like he might lose the 4th base if he's not careful, but he does have enough to kind of push that back for the time being. But it looks like he might just have to sacrifice that position, as Patience is going to be coming across the map with a small Zealot run by as well to just pull back what he can. Again, taking these very unnecessary biles are causing him to make this look a lot scarier than it is. But here we go. He's going to engage into it as the Zerglings, are going to be moving on across to try and reinforce this. And that might be a little bit too much, as there's not really that many Archons left. Alright, Rogue supply starting to fall, however. The reinforcements coming across are going to be picked off by those Void Rays. The Queens starting to run out of that transfuse energy as well. I think Patience may have actually done it here. He has the hold, but the problem is he has expended quite a lot to do so. Behind this, Rogue is just going to be... He's still going to be powering up and getting plenty of roaches in case of a counterattack. But from here, he can really just kind of start to power up a little bit more. If we kind of take a look at what's been going on, he's still stuck on that lair tech. At no point was he able to get that transition in. And he is stopping on 74 workers for right now. He's going to try and break his way through before there's too much storm energy. Biles coming on down. Going to force a lot of those High Templar back, but he still gets some of those very nasty storms in. The question is, does he have enough to back them up? One more Zealot Warp in should barely not be enough here, but it will come down to the last couple of storms. Hey, Zogger, and how are you doing? And yeah, there's just nothing to back up these storms here. The Bio's going to try and get on top of the reinforcements, and that is just going to be a little bit too much. Rogue takes game number 1 in very convincing fashion right there. That's kind of how you have to do it. Just very aggressive and kind of pull the Protoss player apart when they go for this very expensive tech up army. Like, I just don't think... the problem with this is I just don't think on 3 bases there's enough gas to kind of get up the Void Rays early and then kind of transition into the High Templars, which are 150 gas a piece. Not to mention, you're trying to get +1 upgrades. You're trying to get just pretty much a lot of different things. We saw he was going for Immortals after he saw that... yeah, excuse me there. After he saw that it was Roaches. So that's just a lot of gas-heavy things. Before it happened, we already got some predictions going down in chat as well. Rogue versus Zest. For our last one, obviously, Zest is going to be battling Dream in our second series of the day. So make sure that you stick around for that one and the finals after that. And I do agree, Zest is on fire recently. Although Dream has been doing pretty well versus him in the last couple of months. But you know what? I digress on that because we are on our second map of the day. This is a live cast, so we actually have the players sitting right there at their computer desks playing right now. And you know what? Let's see what they can invent for this one. As Jagannatha, like I said, for map number 2. Let us just set up. Good, good, good. And here we go. Spawning in the top position of Jagannatha. He is, for Dragon Phoenix Gaming, Rogue. And 1 second, I apologize for that. Just wanted to make sure about this guy's team down here in the bottom possession for Good Game Gaming. He is Patience. Saying that he taught... talking about Zest here in the chat, how he did teach Rogue how to deal with the Void Rays that Zest himself built. That's kind of stabbing yourself in the foot a little bit here, because now Rogue is going to have the tools to kind of deal with any of the Protoss players that he goes up against. So, you know, that's always fun to see these kind of teammates and friends kind of share the builds and, you know, keep it fresh. Make it so that one player isn't too powerful once they kind of keep the builds. I mean, we did see Rogue also kind of invent a way to deal with the 3-Rax Reaper back in 2016. If you remember the map where it all went down, where he was able to beat Bjorn going 3-Rax Reaper back when nobody knew how to do it. And it was so simple. All you had to do was take Zerglings and stop the Reapers from getting to you. And like, Rogue just made it work. He had enough at home to defend, and he was able to stop the Reapers. So that just shows Rogue's level of pedigree in so many different ways. Probe is going to come out here, just be a little bit of a nuisance, obviously. He doesn't, he's just meant to stop the natural from going up. Most Zerg players these days, they don't really care. Instead, they are just going to throw down that third base, make sure that their economy stays solid throughout it all. They're not really going to let something small like that get to them anymore. Yeah, we did see that Stargate coming up here, but we'll have to see what he's going to do with that as he immediately throws down the Twilight Council behind it. And so with that, you know, Rogue is really going to want to see that. Right now, he's probably expecting something. Actually, okay, so he canceled the Stargate. Very good little bit of a mind game here. I don't know if Rogue went in and spotted it, and that's why he did it. But this has the potential to be a very scary attack. What is he going to be throwing down out of that? You can kind of see into the Inu observing for us today. And it is going to be Adept Glaives. Now, take a look at what Patience is throwing down right now. He has 5 additional gateways on the way. What that means is that he's going to be very heavy in both gas and minerals for this attack, which means it's going to be very difficult for him if he does not get damage to kind of macro his way out of it. We do see the third base going to be going down to try and circumvent that before this attack comes in. And Rogue going to be looking for a cancel as well. He will get the first couple of Adepts. So beautiful pickoff right here. That's going to be a very big loss for Patience, as he's not going to be able to secure that position. Oh, looks like the battle is ready to begin as well. So after this game, let's do a quick... I'm going to do a quick raid. I'm also going to bring that over just slightly so it's in frame. And here we go. Patience. First couple of warp-ins are going to be the most important for him right now. Like, if you can get that snowball coming on in, that's going to be the most important thing. He wants to get on top of the queens as well, because they will absolutely melt to this number of Adepts. But Patience being very, well, patient. All things considered. First Adepts are going to be warping on in. There's only one Roach with this. Some good Warp Prism Micro. Going to keep what he can alive. So, this is now a scary situation for Rogue, as this will allow that big warp in the main base. And again, the prison just keeping alive what he can. As the drones going to start to fall here. 3 already going down, a 4th to follow, and the Adepts actually going to shade right into the natural, and that's where the big damage starts to come in, as there's just not enough Roaches to deal with this just yet. Oh no, now the Queen's actually on their own. If he focus fires those down, that's going to be another big loss for Rogue here. 2 of them already going down. I think a 3rd did fall as well. And yeah, this is pretty much it. It's a little bit of a merry-go-round. He's going to go straight from the natural to the main as much as possible. But now Rogue, he should have enough to kind of keep this back, and the Adepts will start to falter a little bit. So now we'll have to see if Rogue is going to counterattack. Honestly, that's a terrible idea. You know, honestly, I would say, taking a look at this battle report, it was pretty worth it, all things considered, although he did lose 19 Adepts in order to make that work. So a pretty even trade, actually. I think the problem is now that 3rd Nexus is very late. And now with the Roaches in a big enough number, you can't get it in there anymore. Although he's going to try with a couple of additional Adepts. Very beautiful. Roaches just beat this. They do indeed. And that's why Patience does need to make sure that those Roaches stay at home for the transition. We've got 1 Immortal out, a 2nd about halfway done. And once those immortals start to get in a big enough number, that's when the roaches lose a lot of their utility. Especially considering they don't actually have any upgrades on them just yet. Speed only just now finishing. Oh, that is a very risky shade right there, Patience. You gotta be very quick on the trigger when you're letting it go down that far. A couple of adepts as well gonna be going towards the third base, pulling some of the roaches away. But it looks like just a couple will finish that shade. And, you know, I gotta say, I think Patience is really doing the damage that he needs to. But I don't know if it's going to be enough to finish it off, as Rogue will just replenish the workers that he has lost and just be able to really power up from here, because Patience needs to kind of step back from now. All right, here we go. Patience now has quite a bit invested in this army. Has he gotten any additional Twilight upgrades? It doesn't look like that is the case here. His +1 only just now starting, and Blink about halfway complete. But, yeah, this is going to be spooky because there's plenty of Force Fields energy here. Going to keep out some of those Ravagers and force the Biles to be in the front where you don't really want them. And although those are getting taken out by the Biles, that means there's no Biles to deal with this army. A good concave around the 4th is going to help out a little bit. But it looks like Rogue is just going to try and pummel this back. I think he biled his own army there by mistake. One of the Immortals does go down. Patience not able to save it. But that Roach count is starting to falter a bit. I think Defender's Advantage will be enough here, but it's really dicey so far, all things considered. Yeah, a couple of mistakes with the Immortals. Actually going to lose one more than you would really want to, and now Patience actually below 100 supply. Oof. Now, that could have been a very scary situation, but I think it was really just a breath of fresh air that Rogue needed. As we see, he is just pumping out Roach after Roach after Roach. And that does mean that he's going to be moving across the map for a little bit of a counterplay before Patience can really recover. Yeah, the sentries even going down before they can really get started, and Rogue will go up to match point in this first series of the night. So a fantastic start to his night, or more likely morning, or, you know, afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. But yeah, great way to start things off. If he can kind of get a lot of rest, then he is going to be pretty happy to head back into his next series. Now, we are going to be hopping into a very quick Stream Raiders here, as we have our battle ready to go. Look at all you beautiful patrons and all you amazing warriors. So let's get this battle started. 3, 2, and 1 as we get our next lobby up and running here. Looks like the first couple of units are going to just steamroll through here. Looks like we lost a little bit there in the backfield, but that is all right because we have more than enough to clear out this force. Beautiful start to our night. You know what? I am going to give that to... let's give it to Xtel here, as I know most of the other players there. So, I am going to give a little bit more to the viewers here as well. So let's grant those rewards and pick our next one here. And let's go for a little bit of a harder one. We're going to start that battle off. And we will have Estrella lead us into battle. And you know what? We have someone else leading us into battle tonight. We're in Oxide for map number 3. So spawning up here in the top position for Dragon Phoenix Gaming. Give it up for match points Rogue. And this man down here, he is down, but he is certainly not out. He needs your energy, and he needs it now. Give it up for Good Game Gaming and Patience. Oh no, Fleeg. Having a little bit of an issue there with the hype. And just taking a look at it here, Patience, he's tried a couple of different things so far. Obviously, both of them a little bit different. And by a little bit different, I mean way different, super different. Like two completely ends of the spectrum. And really, Rogue is just looking very solid versus everything that's been thrown at him here. This is definitely the Rogue that you want to see show up for these events. And we'll have to see, because honestly, Rogue, he seems very content to just play the reactionary game. He just making sure that he stays safe, and then when he finds that opening, he really hits it hard. And I don't know, Patience just really struggling a little bit to find any weakness in Rogue's armor. Now, taking a look at how this one is starting on out, we do have that second hatchery, so nothing too bad here. Just the standard 4 lings, 2 queens. And on Patience's side of the map, we see the Stalker coming out. Now, when I see the Stalker, I think Twilight Council. But as I say that, Patience really proves me wrong with the Stargate. I do not know how long map 2 was. I believe it was just slightly over 11 minutes, but I'm not 100% certain, Akira-san in the chat. Alright, so we'll have to see, is it going to be Void Rays coming on out here? No, he is going to go for something a little bit more standard. He's going to get that Oracle. Look to get some of that early ground. Excuse me. English is a terrible language. Don't use it unless you need to. But it's only my first language too. But I digress. So with that first Oracle, he's going to try and, you know, kind of just get that early damage in. Just maybe get a couple of pickoffs here and there. I don't assume he will get really too many kills with it. It's more for that just that kind of positional play. And with it, he does open up the possibility of, you know, going into a more ground-based army, because we don't see that Void Ray coming out just yet. Although he is going to be throwing down the second Stargate, so potentially Phoenix, maybe. It's kind of interesting just overall here that he's being... I just don't know how to read this just yet. There we go. Yep, two style Phoenix, so might be thinking that Rogue wants to go for a more air-based army. You do have to be a little bit careful with this, because as you're kind of pumping out these Phoenix, they're very expensive for that 2 base economy while you're trying to go up to the 3rd. So that does leave you open to some sort of attacks here. So if Rogue kind of gets a glimpse of this, he's gonna really feel happy, as we do see the Lair Tech coming on up with the upgrades going to be coming up as well with that Evo chamber. Oh, a bit of a supply block here for Patience as well, just for a couple of seconds, which is pretty bad. A little bit of a mistake there. Looks like 3 drones did go down by a couple of adepts. But yeah, now it's kind of just this build-up phase. I don't think Patience has shown off the oracles just yet, but we should be seeing it pretty darn soon. Also, thank you, Zogern, for updating the bracket to the correct one. And yeah, here we go. Roaches, +1, speed. This is going to be a very powerful timing, and honestly, Oxide is one of those maps where I do enjoy a little bit of European transportation in the form of German taxis, although it's currently pretty early there. I don't know if they're running just yet. As we do see a couple of additional gateways here. He's got to start transitioning into that ground army pretty darn soon, like maybe now. As the Phoenix are going to get a glimpse of this, the Roaches are going to start to get picked up here. There are a couple of Ravagers very quickly cleaned up. And so that is going to force Rogue to kind of stay on the edge of creep, and we do see that instantly throwing down the Hydralisk Den to deal with this. But now Patience, smelling blood in the water with these Phoenix, going to be going in for the drones. And yeah, what a bunch of drones going down. 9 already falling here. These Phoenix really paying for themselves. Does lose one a little bit crazily right there, just keeping himself, you know, just trying to tell Rogue that, hey, you might have a chance, and actually the Hydralisk gonna get picked up as well, so really nice pickups. Look at that. For 2 Phoenix, you got all of these smorgasbord of units, and I think really Patience is going to feel very happy about that, as we do see Charge going to be starting up his +1 upgrades, and he's just going to be going up to a very nice Charge Lot Archon army behind this. No, this is not Roddy here, Zogern. This is probably Roddy's little brother in Patience, although I think Patience might be roughly the same age as Roddy. I don't know his age, actually, off the top of my head. But Rogue, now playing it very passive, has to keep these Hydralisks at home and in high enough numbers to deal with this. And kind of just taking a look at the unit count, he's only got 17 to the 11 of Patience. Now, I'm no mathematician. 17 is nice. It's bigger than 11. But I don't think that's really enough in this situation, especially considering that you're going to have to deal with Storm and Charge off the back of it. Patience is 24 and Roddy is 33. Okay, so Patience is his son. And that is now canon. I've got a good point in the chat here. Zerg does still have that tech coming on in. He will have that upgrade advantage with the +2 upgrade coming on in. And we should be seeing Hive, you know, as soon as he can kind of afford it. We take a look at the income. And it's pretty even, but Rogue is spending his minerals a little bit more. Yeah. I do like this. Lurkers is going to be the choice here. That's going to be really your best option because they are very tanky. They're a set and forget kind of unit, and they can kind of weather the storms a little bit better, allowing you to keep your very aggressive positioning. All things considered here, we do see the Phoenix going to be coming out towards the top of the map, the creep spread. Oh my goodness, Rogue. Already outside the fourth, as the Phoenix going to be getting 8 more pickoffs. Little bit of a skirmish right now. We did see him kind of try and back his units up to go for a bit of a backstab here, but a little bit of a bad positioning, forcing Patience to actually recall out of there. He does lose a couple of those frontliners before doing so, as we see a huge Zealot warp-in coming in towards the back. Now with an almost maxed out army on both sides, Rogue is forced back in order to deal with this or risk losing the 5th. Which will allow Patience to actually just clear up some of that creep and get a nice forward position here. And actually these Hydralisks very exposed as Guardian Shield is popped. Patience looking for the fight, but is just going to back on out of there. Very patient, very methodical in his positioning here. Look at that, even going to get a couple of additional drones. Tries to get the Queen, but, you know, the Queen is too fat to lift for too long. Not too much going on with that. Fleet Beacon, obviously already down, so he's going to start that kind of transition into this really scary Sky Toss army. It's really difficult to deal with once they get a good number of carriers up. So I don't want to say that Rogue is on a timer here, because he certainly does have a lot of options available to him. Especially if he just gets a couple of Vipers, gets those parasitic bombs off, etc, etc. But I feel like you really do want to hit while Patience is not really kind of supplementing his army very effectively, because he is currently maxed out almost, and so there's not going to really be any reinforcements to this push. That is a... oh my god, how many lurkers is that? That is 22 lurkers here. Those zealots know that they are not going to get anything done, so they're just going to go across this map. Oh my gosh. But unfortunately for Rogue, he does leave the lurkers completely undefended, so the Phoenix going to be able to get some good pickoffs here. Storm's going to be going down as well. We just saw the speed upgrade for them go down, as he's taking a lot of damage in the background, so Patience actually really getting some good engagements here. Yeah, now looks like the carriers are going to try and fight here. Not enough Hydralisks for the Phoenix just yet, so they will be able to get a couple of pickoffs. But now with the reinforcements, this becomes pretty scary, as those Hydralisks are able to DPS this down. Keep in mind, there's not that much storm energy just yet. So Rogue, I guess he is going to back off here. He just doesn't want to lose too much. But yeah, he's going to lose his 4th, maybe even 3rd. I don't know. I wasn't counting which one was which. And so he's really just backing himself into a corner here by not being able to engage in Patience's army. He's just trying to play this defensive play here, stay back on the lurkers. And yeah, from here, he's just going to go up to Corruptors, as he's got the double Spire coming on down. You know, I love how Patience is kind of keeping this forward position, which is making it difficult for Rogue to kind of establish himself, although that Immortal getting a little bit too full of itself here. Unfortunately, the name is just the name of the unit. It doesn't really mean that they're Immortal. That would be completely imbalanced. And, you know, they're probably writing that down. Make Immortal more immortal. But we kind of just see this kind of rotation coming down. Patience looking for an angle to clear up some of that creep. Doesn't want to move too far forward, however, as every time he loses the interceptors, that's, you know, 25 minerals an interceptor that he has to deal with. Yeah, well, this army from Patience actually doesn't look very scary at all, I have to admit. Just because it's only a couple, like 5 carriers, which can be dealt with the number of Hydralisks on the field. And really, it looks like a Rogue is going to get a decent engagement here, but the force field's actually going to blanket out a lot of those Hydras. My god, his supply plummets before he just replaces everything with 15 Corruptors. So now, you know, I don't know, just kind of taking a look at that 14 Hydralisks going down in almost a blink of an eye. But Patience trying to trade out some of these Phoenix as well to get more carriers. Loses 3 of them for free as the Lurkers going to do what they can, but they can't actually shoot up. Oh, 1 full High Templar does go down. Where's the army for Rogue, actually? I think it's down there by the 5th or 6th. That Immortal be like, come on, bro. Alright, so just taking a look at everything here. It's slowed down quite a bit, I have to say. As, where did Patience? Okay, he does have the mothership. Where is that hanging out? Oh. You know what he could be doing with this? If he wanted to. There's this really old move that we saw with the Orbiter in Brood War that people actually started to do with the Mothership Core, I think in early Wings of Liberty, wherein they would just bring the Mothership Core straight to the main base and recall their entire army and completely catching their opponent out of position. As we do see Patience just trying to keep the army over here on the top side. So we'll have to keep an eye on that mothership. Never mind, it's dead. Forget everything I just said right there. But I mean, come on. Like, I see Zogger and getting excited for that. I was super excited for it too.
Game paused.
Looks like Patience having a little bit of an issue here. A Korean issue, as it seems. So we will just check out what they are doing right there. Okay, never mind. I certainly thought that was going to be longer. Yeah, I only know a couple of words here, like Junbi, Wayo. Looks like it was a headset problem. Understandable. Those headsets can be very uncomfortable after a while. Couple of good storms, just going to try and clean that up. They do get a gateway for their trouble, so that is pretty alright. Looks like the DT is in range, revealing itself by getting 3 lurkers off the back. That is fantastic amount of work, even though he does go to an early retirement. I think he's got to be very happy to see there. I certainly agree with you, Sushi. I want to see Patience win one, but you know, I'm not discouraging him in any way, but usually when we get to this stage in the game with the unit comp that he has, it really just goes in the Zerg favor a lot of time because the Zerg does have a much better forward position overall. And yeah, I mean, Patience is going to be able to push this back a little bit here, but he really doesn't have enough to deal with 23 lurkers. 23. No, not necessarily Sky Toss, Idosera, but kind of this very heavy Archon style behind it. He doesn't really have a lot in the air. And that's kind of what I mean here, is that he doesn't really have enough to deal with the lurkers on the ground. Hey, Size Matters, how you doing, man? You know, this is kind of the game that's really hard to cast because not really too much is going on right here. We've got a little bit of action going on up here with a couple of storms trying to deal with some of the lurkers. But, oh my goodness. Mothership Core is going to try again, but that is a very easy kill for Rogue. That is 400, so overall, you could have bought a Tesla with the amount of money he has lost on those. But here we go. Patience is actually just going to try and battle his way through. Unfortunately, though, the lurkers will be able to reposition and just get some amazing damage. And yeah, from here, we do see that disruptor change. I think about maybe 8 to 9 minutes too late here. Disruptors are really the way to kind of counter this, as the High Templars have to be very careful here. They are without their escort, but they will be able to get out unscathed. Even going to waste one on the Changeling. Okay. Take a look at that bank as well. 10k on Patient's side of the map. He's actually just kind of saving up there for the run-bys with the Zealots. Especially in terms of that supply. We did see like 174 to 200. But yeah, I mean, the map is pretty well split. We might run out of money here, as those Zealot run-bys are going to be very expensive. That was actually 1,200 minerals he spent on that last one. Looks like the Spores are a bit out of position, so they will get taken down. The Lurker's going to try and get on top. The Storms blanketing everything. The first couple of Disruptor shots not going to get anything done, and Patience forced to recall here. He will suffer for that as he loses the carriers and a couple of Disruptors as well. Looks like 11 drones did go down in the backfield by the run-bys here. Is he going to get the Hive is the big question. It looks like the answer is no. And I mean, honestly, looking at this Rogue, down to 43 workers here, so maybe going to be a little bit slower to remax as his bank starts to run out. How to deal with that many lurkers, disruptors, and a whole lot of luck. As Rogue completely maxed out here. First couple of disruptor shots, beautiful hits. That is how you start the engagements. If he can get a couple of additional shots like that, that is how he is going to finish this one off. Looks like a couple of lurkers, probably burrowing near the bottom position. Yeah, that's not going to get too much done here. But I mean, Patience has been able to kind of push this creep very far back, and that's kind of the early warning system slash repositioning for a Rogue. Hold that thought, though, as the Hydralisk gonna get right on top of this. The Carriers starting to run out of Interceptors here. Storm gonna keep the Corruptors far enough back, though, and that is gonna be the end of this first engagement. Parasitic Bomb gonna get some good damage done on the Void Rays, but we still have quite a few Corruptors. You gotta be careful not to fight underneath the Archons, so Patience really taking the fights that he needs to, and he might actually just be able to clean up this base, which is one of the last mining bases of Rogue. Oh no, Rogue is gonna be trying to make it expensive, however. Trying to focus fire down some of those Tempests and the Carriers. Lurkers gonna help on the retreat, and there's no recall available here. First Disruptor shot gets some good connections, but it's just not enough. Actually, he does have a recall, but he leaves so much behind. Oh my goodness, his supply has plummeted. He has gotten 16 additional workers, though, so Rogue, his economy is dead. Taking a look at that income right now. Oh my goodness. Army size as well, telling the story. I just don't really know who's fully ahead right now. As, you know, Patience, he's gotten some good damage. He's keeping up with Rogue in all fields. But, just no gas bank. Thank you, Zogger, and that's what I'm trying to say. He can't really reinforce his position as he loses things. And if Rogue wanted to, let's be fair, he could just toss down a ton of Lings and kind of Zerg rush his opponent. As we do see, that's kind of going to be his plan here as this game goes on. We do see the Adrenal Glands coming in, just getting everything. Yeah, I like this a little bit better. Not going to go for anything too cheeky. And going to keep the Mothership core with the army this time. And here we go. The Overseer's actually not with this, so he will be having to be a little bit careful here. But unfortunately, Patience is kind of sealing his own fate as he's going to get surrounded. First couple of Disruptors is going to help. Hydralisks, you need to attack. You need to do something. And another good Disruptor hit here. Unfortunately, Rogue on the move command right there. He doesn't really have a lot left in terms of these Corruptors. And actually, that's going to be enough. GG is called, and Patience bringing it back. Who was it that said they had the wrong prediction there, man? You got to have more faith in yourself. But that was a fantastic game from Patience right there. Just playing it very patient in one of Rogue's favorite parts of the game. He lives for that late game situation. Just unfortunately taking some really bad engagements right there. Let's see, what are we going to go on to next? We are going to hit up Romanticide. Alpha X Bibs getting a flag bearer right there. Thank you for all the support. Make sure you do check out that stream Raiders. If you type in, I believe, !Raiders in the chat, that will take you to where you can throw down units and help us into victory. A battle. Thank you, Sushi. Yeah, I do agree with a lot of what people are saying in the chat. If you do see the Phoenix and then you just go for a big Roach Surge, like we saw what he did versus the Void Race, I think you're in a much better position there. Even if you don't outright kill him, you're going to be able to get a ton of damage in. And as I say that, just waiting to see. Looks like Inu having a little bit of fun right there. Trying to make it a battle between me and him. That's right, it is time for a battle. We are just going to do that at the end of this game. As we hop on in to a bit of a more standard macro map, you know? I think this is going to be a good one for Zerg, and the only reason I say that is because the first 3 bases, kind of easy to defend. They're really simple to kind of move your units around, if you guys kind of understand what I'm saying. I digress on that point because we do have a game going on here. So let's introduce these guys, shall we? Spawning. In the bottom position here, he is 1 game away from victory. Let's see if he can close it out. He is Dragon Phoenix Gaming's Rogue. And his opponent up here in the top, bringing it back in a very long game. Let's see if he can do the same or even better. He is Good Game Gaming's Patience. Aw, I can't actually make a prediction. Dang. Oh, curse this modhood. All the power in the universe, but not enough to actually earn channel points. Okay, so Patience, I think he's kind of been the one to kind of set the pace for the early game. Obviously, Zerg is one of the more reactionary races. They're really kind of content because they do have the ability to kind of switch up their tech a lot easier. So they could kind of build up that army, realize, oh, hey, this isn't going to work, so I'm going to switch to another army. And, you know, they just have a lot of that flexibility that Protoss really doesn't have. Now, we do have that first adept going to be probably just going across the map. A little bit of information, a little bit of scouting, a little bit of damage, as we do have the possibility for another adept glaive build as that Twilight Council is going to drop on down. Now, I said these bases are a little bit easier to defend. The 3 base spread is kind of close to each other with the creep. But when it comes down to these kind of jumps by the adepts, we did see that Rogue kind of did have a little bit of trouble dealing with it, as he lost over 12 to 13 because he just didn't have the unit count necessary to counter it. Okay, never mind. This is Patience saying, you know what, I don't care to play you in a straight up game anymore. I just want to kill you now and make this a 2-2 series because I think I can beat you in game number 5. And I mean, there is a possibility of that because with the Dark Templar Shrine, even if you don't get a lot of initial damage, you still have those Archons, which can be difficult to deal with. You have the follow-up Charge Lot Archon kind of pressure that you can put on. So there's just a lot of mobility that you can get with the DTs these days. As Rogue going to be moving across the map, moving around the map, looking for the tech. He doesn't see it, however. This is kind of the perfect positioning for Patience to place this. All right, 2 workers already going down from the first shade in of the adepts. This is kind of the expected damage that you can see. No lair, by the way. Oh no, Rogue. Where is your spores? Okay, he does get a little bit of wind of this, but those spores are still going to be very late. 5 workers already going to go down. Doing a pretty good job of kind of defending those spores as they're going on up. But if Patience just focus fires down some of those drones, he's going to get even more. 8 already going down, and his natural is very exposed. Oh my goodness, he doesn't actually have the spore. It got killed. Oh, this is brutal here. And doesn't get the recall either. Okay, so if you're Rogue, you would be pretty angry, wouldn't you? Especially since your opponent has the audacity to go double Void Ray behind this. Going into charge, he's gonna have Archons. At this point, I would be very mad if I was Rogue, and I would try to go across the map and kill my opponent. He has double the army supply right now, and I think he necessarily could do it, as we do see the Ling's going to be coming across. They're going to be able to get a little bit of damage on this third base before being forced back. Zogern, another flag bearer skin. Oh, Sushi going to give it to her. Awesome, awesome, awesome. A lot of good stuff going on down there in the Stream Raiders. Okay, so from here on out, Patience does have to play it a little bit more, well, you know, patient, as you know, we do see his Void Ray count just starting to grow exponentially here. Rogue, now seeing it, does have an idea of what his next move is. He's a little bit broke right now. If you kind of take a look at his minerals banked up. And Sushi, I think you can actually use the flag bearer. I think it's just a standard unit that gives a boost to the raider units. Not 100% sure on that. Don't quote me. I am not an expert just yet. But yeah, here we go. The Void Ray is going to be coming across the map. Will get deflected by the Queens. One of them taking a little bit more of the brunt. The Adepts as well, going to get 2 additional drones. And yeah, not really too much else to say. The Void Rays, Burr Rays are on the way. Getting some nice pickoffs here, just denying as much vision to Patience as possible. The Lings as well, trying to get some scouting information. Those will get deflected. And yeah, the Queen's gonna have to stay very divided here if they hope to survive. They need to defend every single base. A little bit of a missed micro there. Gonna take a little bit of extra damage on that one Void Ray. But that's not gonna deter him just yet as he goes straight into the main base. Might want to pop the overcharge there if he's going to do anything with it, but we do have a big attack coming on in. We have 8 infestors on the way, but they won't have fungal just yet. They finished before the upgrade. Oh man, this is a very bad position for Rogue to be in right now. Those Archons are going to pretty much have to blanket through everything, but Patience not going to test his luck just yet. I feel like he's starting to lose his window, however, as those fungals gonna just start to bank up pretty heavily here pretty soon. And you know what? One thing that I've seen from Rogue that I haven't seen from a lot of Zerg players, I believe I've seen him use Microbial Shroud a little bit more often, which, as you know, takes away 50% of the attack of those air units, which is going to be really good for dealing with the Void Rays in the air and covering the roaches on the ground. What is Patience actually hiding up here? Okay, it's just a standard Zealot run by. Kind of to be expected. You know, I gotta say, if those Zealots were with the main army right now, I think they would be pretty useful. Just because you do want to kind of get a buffer for the Archons in the back. And I mean, you don't really have Storm just yet. Although I do think he's got a couple of... Okay, no, he does not have any High Templars just yet. Rogue maxed out +1 as he's going up to Lurker Tech this time. Much quicker. Yeah, here we go. First big fungal gonna blanket these Void Rays. Unfortunately, not gonna be able to follow that up with the Hydralisk, so the recall will keep most of them alive. The Zealots, though, gonna find a good position. They're gonna get one of the Queens. One of them will get transfused and saved, so those will have to be retreated. But, you know what? I think the armies are pretty much shaped up for how they're gonna be for the next couple of minutes. With Colossus in the backfield, with the Archons and the Zealots as well. Plus, maybe going to be adding in Stalkers pretty soon. Although, probably not, as we do have the additional Stargates and the Fleet Bacon coming online. Here we go, just kind of poking and prodding his way forward with the Disruptor Balls. Disruptor's pretty good for dealing with the Infestors, forcing them to stay back, as the Zealot's going to be trying to get a little bit of damage done. A big attack coming up here, but the Fungals going to blanket this army. Not going to be able to chain it enough to kill him just yet, but he will be able to get a kill on this base. Rogue doesn't cancel in time, and that will go down. I think this is pretty much like a Protoss mech ball. And I do like the Colossus because they will be able to deal with a lot of these Spore Crawlers in the front, which will make your carrier army much better on. But I think Patience doesn't really care about that, as he's going to look to just clean a house right now. Fungals, pretty much the only thing that Rogue has right now. And even those are going to start to run out. But will they not run out in time? Oh my gosh, so low. Okay, so many of those Void Rays going down right now. The Colossus are pretty much the only thing left. Oh my goodness. Losing my breath with that one. I thought Rogue might have been dead there. I think the fungal, you're right, that the fungals did seem to work. They were the only thing that's really keeping Rogue in the game right now. Just the fact that he was able to keep that army back and killing off so many of the Void Rays. The problem is now, taking a look at this, Rogue, he's got back up to 88 workers, which is nice. It's going to help him out a little bit. He still has the Spore Crawler roll. But Patience does have that army supply lead. He's up 184 to 170. Is it too late for the battle tab? Yeah, a little bit too late right there. But you can kind of see he's trading very efficiently with the units that he has. And Rogue just really having a lot of trouble securing this top base. He's putting so much into it that he's not even bothering going for the bottom. It looks like some of those Overlords going down is going to supply block Rogue, but that's not going to be too big of a deal. These days, 100 minerals, not too important. So the carriers are going to be heading down to the bottom. That is very interesting. That does leave them very vulnerable to the Hydralisks, as they're not really in high enough numbers, as you see that one carrier just losing everything in the blink of an eye almost. A Zealot run by as well, going to be going towards the 4th. So ideally, he's just trying to split off the army. That was a very dangerous situation. Oh my goodness, Zargard, you are like on fire with the predictions right now. His moves are either 200 IQ or minus 200 IQ. And that's for dang sure, as he's going to attack straight into the wall. The Spore Crawlers dealing with the Interceptors. Looks like the Archons are starting to falter as well. One of them getting pulled straight back in. Is there anything that can stop recall? Yes, if you kill the Nexus that they're recalling to, that will actually cancel the recall. You know, you can obviously kill off the units since there is a delay before the recall finishes. And those are your two main options, honestly, for dealing with the recall. Alright, there we go. Sorry, Sushi. I did not see your Discord till just now. All good. So now, Patience, he's kind of divided his army up just a little bit. Now really bringing it together. He's got Tempests, Storm. I like this a little bit more than his composition in the last game because he really just didn't have any of that splash or AoE or anything in the last game that committed damage, which is really what Rogue was. That's the reason the game went on so long. I know Rogue lost it, but Patience could have won it a lot quicker if he had any of that. Beautiful snipes right there. Colossus going on down. And I mean, Patience just kind of testing the waters right now. Oh my goodness, are we gonna see it? The Mothership Core, is it gonna get the recall off? It's gonna be very close, but he does manage to get it. Unfortunately, though, he does lose one carrier very quickly here. The Hydras, though, gotta be careful for that Disruptor Ball. There is plenty of energy here, and just gonna recall out. Oh my gosh. Oh. Disruptors in the front, going to try and get some connections as well. They're not going to get too many of the lurkers. They're going to go straight for the 4th base. That will not fall. There's just way too much DPS here. So yeah, while that was a really cool move to see, it just really didn't contribute anything since he did have to, you know, recall out immediately after losing a carrier and such. And actually, taking a look at that, yeah. 3 carriers, his Disruptor's gone, the Mothership Core for not really a lot out of Patience there. So now, kind of the same situation as last game. We kind of just see Patience rotating around, looking for an opening, as we do have a couple of lurkers just kind of blocking the front, but the Tempest will be able to make short work. He has to be very careful to keep that high ground vision. Otherwise, he's going to be able to get neuroed very easily by these infestors at the top. Yeah, he doesn't have the Tempest upgrade. You don't really see that too much. As you know, it's not really that usual. Just taking a look at all the upgrades here. It is a smorgasbord of upgrades. As Patient's going to be moving on to creep down here at the bottom. Since Rogue didn't take this base, it's actually wide open for Patience to move into, but he won't be able to get too much further forward. And yeah, storming his own army just to deal with the changelings. I feel like that's a little bit wasteful here. He was actually attacking himself as well. Just some small mistakes here from Patience. Making it difficult for him to move on forward. Taking a look at the banks, both players really just kind of exploding in there, and the income. Patience doing a little bit more in terms of the minerals and even the gas. So that's really going to be the situation here. Who is going to expend that bank quicker? As we do see Rogue going to be rotating up to the top with those Hydralisks. Might even get a couple of Void Ray kills here as we see a couple of them flying a little bit too far from the nest. Yes, top right. After this fight, I want to take a look at the units lost tab here. Already, the Tempest taking a couple of pot shots, but it looks like Rogue is going to be very patient with himself. The Disruptor Balls, though, going to get one of the Lurkers for almost free. The Spore Crawler as well going to go down as the Corruptor's just looking for the angle, looking for a couple of stragglers in the Void Rays. Yeah, just taking a look at everything lost in this. Patience being a little bit less cost effective here. Rogue actually doing a very good job in that market. Yeah, the Hydras up top that were sent to deal with the Void's actually going to get a couple of nice pickoffs as well. The Carriers being yoinked on in. Very nice pickoffs right there as they are being one-shot. And, no, this is not the finals just yet. This is game number 4 of the first series. We still have 2 more series after this. It is going to be a long day. Which I am perfectly happy for. Stairs at 2:30 a.m. Hey, it is only 1:30 a.m. right now. Thank you very much. Good start to my birthday. I literally got to start my birthday at midnight with a StarCraft 2 stream, and I wouldn't have it any other way, as the Ultralisk probably would have it a different way as the Disruptor, taking out a lot of his health right there. The one Lurker back here going to get a little bit of damage done, and actually going to try and kill off the Dark Templar just with its splash. As the Patience really just not finding the angle that he needs to move into this. This Spore Wall is just everywhere in this split map situation. 11 workers going down in the backfield. I think that was a couple of lurkers just kind of being sectioned off here. The Tempest going to try and deal with the Spore Crawler wall as the Corruptors just can barely watch as the Archons just really too good versus the Corruptors. Have a good night, Zogern. Yeah, it's pretty much just who pulls the trigger first in this situation. Looks like it's going to be Rogue making that first big four-way off of creep in a while, as Disruptor's going to get a couple of good connections, and that's going to end that little expedition. Both of these guys have over 12,000 minerals and over 6,000 gas saved up. Look at that army graph. That's something you post to Reddit with data is beautiful. Whew. Yeah, another mothership core gonna be coming on in. We do see a couple of additional things being researched for patience. I think that's the Tempest upgrade now, as the lurkers will clean up the zealots. Down there in the top, the Ultras are gonna be able to cleave their way through. They do have +3 attack, and the chitinous plating gonna help out quite a bit as well. DT's going to be taking care of what they want, and that's going to be a couple of dead Ultras. I don't think they're going to be able to make it home. Okay, one of them doesn't. Your face is too defensive. Oh, there you go. Oh, man. I don't have a sound deck, so I can't go with the trumpets on that one, but that was a burn. C-Mac, good job. Yeah, you know what? There's nothing really too much else I can say about this one. We kind of just see Rogue rotating his army out between getting Corruptors, Infestors, and getting the Ultralisks as well. I think the Ultralisks are pretty good for kind of just trying to clear up the bases, because it does force those defensive warp-ins for units you probably don't want to get necessarily as patience. So it's kind of just trying to force you to expend that bank, although that bank is going nowhere, guys. Like, literally, I don't think that bank has done anything but get bigger, but that might change as Rogue is actually going to lose this bank to a huge Zealot DT run by. And that's actually a huge deal. As these bases starting to run dry, you're going to have to be looking for every source of income that you can get. Looks like the DTs are going to nope on out of there. I feel like in that situation, that's kind of like when you're with your brother in your room, and something goes wrong, and then your brother runs to another room, and you're just sitting there, left with the paintbrush and with a Picasso on the wall. Also, sorry about that, brother. That was like 16 years ago, but I'm still sorry about it. Here we go, a couple of good yoinks. Just trying to close it out. Rogue getting a little bit impatient right now. He's going to try and dive on top of the High Templars. Broodlords as well, just going to be able to shell away at the cannons. Not really going to do anything to the army, which is cloaked. He's going to try and yank away the Mothership Core. Gets a couple of Tempests instead. As Rogue loses these units, he's just going to be replacing them with additional Corruptors. Now, you do have to be careful not to get too many, as that will allow Patience to kind of reset on the ground, and Corruptors don't really shoot down. But to heck with that, the Ultra's going down on the other side. The DT is just absolutely shelling away as Rogue running out of minerals here, but he does get a yoink on the Mothership Core. It's pretty much, can he keep this up? Can he go on without running out of steam? So far, the answer is not really, as Patience still trying to set up a defensive position. Yes, some of the Broods did kill off some of the High Templars. And yes, it is Mothership Core. It is Mothership instead of Mothership Core, just a force of habit from Heart of the Swarm. You know, I have never forgotten that unit existed. Because who don't know their history are doomed to repeat it. But yeah, now it's gonna come down to this last base. I think this is one of the last ones with full mineral patches, as a Ro gonna be taking that one and the one on the bottom. Ultras as well, just gonna be fighting Zealots. A little bit of an uneven trade right there. Ooh, gotta be careful with the Broods, however. Going a little bit too far forward, so the Tempest's gonna get some good pickoffs. Although that being said, the Corruptor's gonna start one-shotting this. The Storm's gonna be the only thing forcing this back. My goodness, what is this game, guys? It is literally blow for blow, with Rogue just kind of barely coming out on top every single time. Even though we do see he's lower on the drone count, who cares? He has so many minerals, so much gas. He can remake this army again and again. And Patience just kind of running out of steam here. Although he does have a bank of his own, he's not going to be able to replenish it because he doesn't have the base count. No, that's a different stream. The Kishua. Oh man, the people on YouTube are going to be so confused as to what's going on here, but some beautiful fungals. A really good engagement for Rogue right now, forcing Patience back behind his own base. And I mean, now it's kind of just this slow siege, as the Broods really have no way to be stopped with the Corruptor wall in front. Void Rays coming on in, but that's a really big panic move here. It looks like Patience just wants to... he's got to do something. He knows he has to, so he's going to try and clean up the reinforcements and also just try and clean up this position, but Rogue is able to pull his way back. A couple of good yoinks, killing off the interceptors. And as he gets cleaned up there, as with the Zealots and the Stalkers, it's just not looking good, guys. Yeah, sure, he can replenish this a couple of more times, but he just won't have the time to do so is the problem. Okay, getting that will be good, but Rogue gets another good connection right there. Dream Incest is going to be coming up next, friends. Shoot. We're just getting through this series right here. Still getting this one, so make sure you guys check out the Matcherino page as well. Because you can use the code AXCOM286, I believe, and that will add 50 cents to the prize pool for free. And these guys will definitely appreciate it. Oh, hey, I actually got the code right for once. But once again, going to be replenishing with carriers. Patience has taken the top base as Rogue has kind of switched out to the bottom. So these guys really just kind of trading these bottom and top bases over and over again. Resetting the Spore roll as the Disruptors, trying to get the connections, but not going to get too much there. Yeah, it's going to come down to these small engagements, I think. I don't really think Rogue wants that big engagement. He wants to kind of just bleed Patience dry by killing off the bases. And I mean, he's doing a good job of it. You know, that Nexus is one of the last mining bases that Patience essentially has. And Sushi gifting a ton of flag bearers here. So make sure you check out the Stream Raiders as well. We're going to be doing a battle of our own afterwards here. A couple of beautiful yoinks, killing off so many of the carriers. If he can keep getting those yoinks, that is going to be how he wins this one here. And the Infestors are going to be beautiful in this engagement as well. But it's going to come down to who loses their patience. No pun intended. Excuse me, guys. One sec. Oof. So yeah, as we cross the 36-minute mark here, Patience once again going to be cleaning up a lot of the spores, which is fantastic for him. Going to get a kill on this base potentially, but has to be careful not to leave himself an opening to escape. First couple of fungals are pretty good, but the disruptors do get their shots off. Not going to get too much here as the High Templar is full of energy, actually going to go down. So that's a lot of storms away here. Fungals, Parasitic Bomb. This is Rogue's chance to strike, and he is going to take it. Now looks like it's going to blanket the Broodlords in the back, but starting to run on empty here as the Archon's at the bottom, going to fall on down, and Rogue, in a marathon of a game,